Which one's better, Melbourne or Sydney crowds?
Oh, 6-7.
Mr. Sean Tyas, welcome to the Tranced Out studio. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah! Sean Tyas, as you know, you have your show coming up this Saturday in Melbourne. Tell us, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, great. I mean, every time I've played in Melbourne, it's always great. I feel very, very comfortable here, at home here, even from the first visit. I don't even remember what year that was. I guess 06, 07, but 06, 7. But yeah, I like the fact that this is the first time I actually have come to Melbourne and I can play 3 hours of, trying to trance roots, OG classics. And everyone always goes, oh, you're going to put your tracks in there. And the biggest conflict of me is like, I don't like to look at my tracks as classics because it's weird. It's a weird dynamic. So I try not to play so many of my own tracks, but I think people are requesting that. So it's a mix, like a lot of my old stuff. But definitely no modern trance tunes. All the stuff that made you fall in love with trance in the first place, that's what you're gonna hear on Saturday.
Where is your accent from?
Born and raised, well, not really born. I was actually born in Massachusetts, but raised in New York until I was 24. So yeah, that's I can't really shake off the leftover accent anymore.
Can you give us a phrase like that New York people say?
Let's get some coffee.
Nice. And why trance? Out of all genres, you could have done any genre in EDM. Why trance music?
I just love the energy flow. When I first started hearing trance, I mean, maybe it was when it was like quote unquote trance. I guess it would be Robert Miles' Children, which would probably be a lot of people's first time hearing trance, especially around my age. And that kind of sprung forth a little bit of more interest to looking into where else I could hear it. So you start to hear Tiesto, and you hear Ferry Corsten, Paul Van Dyk, Above and Beyond, Armin van Buuren, and the big five were always kind of the go-tos, especially in that era. And I just find that when a track goes off, like a good trance track goes off on a dance floor, there is not just an energy flow that I find still second to nothing on the dance floor. There's kind of like there's a huge community aspect, and I say that, and it's not like trance music is the only kind of music that breeds community feeling, but I do feel that there's an overwhelming happiness on the dance floor that's just very, very synonymous with trance. And it's really hard to duplicate in other styles.
If you could relive one moment in your career, what would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one. There was a moment, I think it was my second ever visit to Argentina for Buenos Aires. And club was called Big One, very massive club. I mean, it was named appropriately. It was just a massive club. And I get there, and the first thing, I land on the plane, and the promoter, Christian, was like, well, we have a situation, or we have an opportunity for you. You can say no if this is not cool with you. And so we're going to put you in a huge bubble and lower you to the stage tonight from about 3 levels up. And you'll be kind of suspended in the air by harnesses, and you'll be lowered down, and then you have to come out of the bubble and start DJing. And we had to take out an insurance policy, and I'm like, oh, you could drop me, okay. But I did it, and it was like one of the coolest experiences in my life, and I would do that in a heartbeat again, no question. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, that would have been so cool.
This huge inflatable ball, and you're lowered down, and basically they had me hidden up above by there was a big kind of flag or a tapestry, and then basically when it came time for me to get ready to go down for my set, they dropped that flag and everybody looks up and sees me in this bubble. It's crazy moment. Definitely.
Wow, that actually sounds so cool. Wow. So you didn't know it was happening. They just offered it to you and they're like, hey, you want to try this?
Well, I didn't know on the plane. I mean, it was more or less once I landed, they said, this is what we have planned for you, and you can of course say no, but I'm like, no way, you gotta, YOLO.
What sets do you prefer? Festival sets where you play into massive crowds, or more intimate club sets where it's just like a few hundred people?
More intimate clubs, absolutely. I think all the magic is, even though we love doing festivals, I think there's a big part of the magic that is not lost but compromised at a festival because of the distance you're playing from people. I think when they're surrounding you in like a boiler room style, or even if it's not completely boiler room style, when they're really close, you can feed off the energy so much easier.
That's so true. 'Cause sometimes when you're so far, you can't really see what's going on.
Yeah.
Can't really hear people singing.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like when they're so far away, even though you could see like some movement and stuff, you don't feel them dancing as if they were right around you.
That's so true.
That level of motion and energy is much more contagious when they're close.
Do you think trance is making a comeback, or was it always here? What are your thoughts on that?
I've been kind of saying that trance has needed a reset for probably the past decade, and I think we're finally seeing it. And it's come in a different way than I anticipated. I thought it was going to jump back to the classic sound immediately, but it's coming back as the classic sound, but in newly reinterpreted ways by the younger generation, which is super cool because we needed a younger generation. The trance crowd is kind of aging a bit, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we needed people to reinterpret the sound, pick up the pieces, and continue, and like to be able to hand the baton off to people who have some new ideas that can breathe freshness into it. And that's what's happening right now with the late '90s sound that's being construed. The Korg M1 era trance and the TX81Z baseline era, which is being now kind of construed as 145 to 150 BPM trance. And I think it's also very closely linked to the late '90s sound of the Cascada. So let's see how the cycle continues, but I think this has been a very interesting new start to the rebirth.
Out of all the trance festivals you've played, which one has a special place in your heart?
Definitely, I would say Dream State. I mean, Dream State and Luminosity, totally, because Luminosity always is timeless. I've been one of the drivers one year told me, and this was years ago, he just said, you've been here more than any other international DJ. So that meant a lot. So I think I played at 13 or 14 Luminosity, maybe 13, and I think something like that. I hope I'm not bullshitting there. But then the other side, of course, Dream State. It's great to see my home country America doing Dream State, committing to it, and so many people turning up for this event, and that's also really, really special to see. So I think those two, yeah.
What would you say is the most played track in your USB right now?
Oof. Oh my God. Okay, probably the most played track probably the one that I played the most relatively recently is this rework that I've done of Armin van Buuren and Ray Wilson, Yet Another Day, and that's actually just current on the USB that you heard in this set was the rework version, but Armin's come to me asking to turn that into a full-on remix. Now the difference between a rework and a remix is that a rework has the original track kind of very, very low volume in the background, and I just write music over it, and that's kind of what a rework is, at least to me. Some people might construe that definition as different. Now remix is you take away that original track and you just have the official parts from the original artist. So I was sent the parts now, and to turn it into a full-on remix. Now, then I have a little bit more, then you have a lot more freedom with how much you can change the track. So I'm kind of in the middle of doing that right now, but I'm totally off topic on the question, but the point is that track, yes.
What does Sean Tyas get up to when he's at home? When he's not DJing, when he's not making music?
I wake up 4:30 in the morning every morning, Monday through Friday, and I go to the gym for 5. I go with my daughter, Kyla, and we go, then we finish up by 6, back for breakfast. Then it's basically to the studio, whether it's going to be production. I do a lot of one-on-one lessons with people. You can go to tyassound.com and check out email you can contact if you want to do sessions, or I sell sound sets. That's one of the things I love doing the most, making sounds. I probably like it more than actually making music, to be fair. Or, just hermiting myself in the studio, hopefully doing something productive, but it's very easy to go off on tangents all day because, hey, it's music.
Let's say that DJing wasn't a thing, and let's say trance wasn't a thing, and let's say you couldn't be a producer. What do you reckon you would be doing as your day-to-day job if you couldn't do any of those things?
An animator, or an animator for either Disney or probably doing illustrations for comic books.
Which one's better, Melbourne or Sydney crowds?
Oh! Yeah, okay, so that's going to be a tough one to answer, and I can't answer you that because we haven't experienced Saturday, and it's been 2.5 years since I've been there. But if I had to say over the last 2 visits, I would say the Sydney gigs have outshined the Melbourne shows. However, historically, I think the Melbourne shows have had more of the better shows than the Sydney shows. It's really hard to say that. That's exactly why I had the track called Melbourne, and that's why it was out around that time, because I was obsessed with this city, you know. So I think Melbourne edges it out. So let's see if Saturday, if Melbourne can take back the prize.
Heard it first, Melbourne's better.